Hello, and welcome to this episode of The Brief. I'm your host, Meredith Reed. I'm here today with Anthony Oyogoa. Did I get that right?
Absolutely, right on.
Wonderful. He's the CEO and co-founder of UrSafe, the first and only hands-free, voice-activated personal safety app fully integrated with 911 to empower everyone to stay safe anytime, anywhere. Anthony's childhood experience growing up in different parts of the world and watching his father's entrepreneurial journey paved the way for him to become a founder. Anthony's company is the perfect offline complement to the online work we do at Spectrum Labs to provide safer dating solutions. So, Anthony, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you. First time. So very excited to be here.
We're very excited to have you. So, just to start out, could you tell us a little bit about what inspired you to create UrSafe?
Yeah, I think, first of all, my background as a physician is about caring for other people and trying to be as selfless as possible. And just as an entrepreneur for many decades, I just was always concerned. And I think, like most people, I've watched the media reports over the last several years about sexual assaults in so many different industries and different parts of our society, whether it's in the military, whether it's dating, whether it's rideshare. And I just wanted to figure out what was my contribution based on my skill set. And obviously, as a physician, it's limited. But as an entrepreneur, I reached out to my friends, my female co-founders. I have two of them that are amazing. One of them is in the military, so we don't say her name, but the other one is Ruma Patel, and she's based in Chicago. And we started looking at the situation and saying, how can we leverage technology to help with this situation? Um, and how can we look at it from an honest point of view and say, in the day-to-day life of a person that might be physically unsafe, what can we do? And that led us to a whole host of different ideas. We started with a survey, as most entrepreneurs would try to do before they start a business. And our survey statistics came out where we did a global survey of women and found that 93% of them have at some point felt physically unsafe. And in society, you would imagine if 93% of men had physically felt unsafe, we would have been able to find the technological innovations to fix this problem a lot sooner. We just felt like it was something that Silicon Valley hadn't really addressed because it really didn't affect a lot of the decision makers and the venture capital people. But we took it on ourselves, myself and my two female co-founders, and built a team, a global team. We have members in 5 continents to develop this app that we think is just allowing people to feel empowered in their day-to-day activities, and giving them the voice in situations where they might feel a little bit uncomfortable. But also, we've started seeing that by people having the app and other people noticing they have the app. So if it's on their in a jacket, if it's on the phone, the back of the phone, it starts to change the behavior of possible bad actors.
That's very good to hear. So are you saying that, do people have some sort of way to show it's on their phone without someone actually looking at their screen?
Absolutely. We have a whole litany of different stickers, buttons. We have pop suckers for the back of your phone. So just imagine we're sitting down and we're meeting for a cup of coffee, and maybe I don't have the best intentions. If you look at the back of my phone and you see a sticker that says UrSafe, it doesn't take too long for you to realize that, okay, maybe this person has this app that they can trigger remotely by their voice, to a whole litany of things, whether it's reaching out to 911 or there's just being able to create an excuse, an incoming inbound call that they can use for an excuse. People start becoming a lot more conscious about their behavior. And yeah, we found that people are excited about it. By just having a button, just a little button on the shirt that just said like a UrSafe button on the back of a book bag, a kid walking home.
That's such a good idea. You think about, so I'll admit that I listen to a lot of true crime. And a lot of times you hear that a potential perpetrator is deterred by something relatively small just because it's not worth the additional risk that they have to take on. So I could definitely see even something like a sticker showing that you have that technology on your phone being really effective. So can you tell us a little bit more about how UrSafe works?
Okay. Well, we have so you download the app from the App Store, and whether you're getting it via your rideshare dating app, or you're just getting it as a regular consumer, whether through your telecom company, part of your bundling, just depends on where you get it from. So you can just either just go as a regular consumer and download it, and you create your account. We simply only ask for your phone number, your name, and whatever your email is, how you're getting the account. We don't keep data. We don't monetize data, so we don't need to know a litany of things about you. You create your users, and these are your circle of friends, so to speak, that you say, hey, in case of an emergency, I want these people to know who I am. I want these people to know where I am. Sorry. Um, you give us you give us their phone number, we put it into the system, and then they get alerted like, hey, Meredith just started a UrSafe account and she listed you, and you can either accept it or not accept it. From there, you use it for daily things. I mean, you use it for follow me. Hey, I'm going for a jog. I'm going from here to here. So you map it out, GPS style, like Uber. This is where I'm going, your destination. Are you walking? Are you going public transportation? Are you in a vehicle? And our GPS system will then map it and let all your contacts that you say, hey, I want my mom to know, or I want my partner to know. They can see that whether you're in a car, whether you're walking home as a kid from school, they want your parents to know. If you're on a date, you want a couple of your friends to know, hey, I'm going to go meet this person here, or just for coffee. And then you have to have the app on in the background, because we don't listen constantly. That's something very big about our company. Our value set is not to monetize data. Therefore, we don't try to listen. We don't listen unless you have the app on, and you will see a red bar at the top that says, hey, I'm listening. That's the only time that we want you to consciously turn it on, so that you know that we're listening for your safe word. When you're creating the account, one of the unique patented technologies we leveraged is your safe word. So your safe word is a word that you create, you speak it into the phone, and it stores it. We help you create it. It usually takes about 30 seconds. We'll give you some guidelines. And that word is listened to in case of an emergency to trigger our SOS protocol. So in cases where people can't physically get to the phone, or it's just not convenient, they can use just your safe word once they have the phone on in the background, to be able to alert their loved ones that this is where I am, this is what's going on. They would get a text saying, hey, Amanda just happened, and Amanda, she's located here. She just activated her SOS. One of the other features is it starts a live video stream. And in many cases, this becomes a very, very big deal, because the live video stream from your phone goes to those loved ones' phones, and it stores on their phone. So even if true crime, even if your phone is destroyed and the perpetrator thinks, oh my God, I've destroyed the phone, the last person that attacked the person can actually just show a flash screen of who it was. It becomes a story, and it becomes where you last were and what you were looking at. And that's stored on the phone of up to, I think, 5 of your loved ones. And it works around the world. But just day-to-day use, obviously, we don't want people having to be in an SOS protocol situation, but just day-to-day use, we have it for, I'm just going out to the movies, I'm meeting somebody, maybe I'm purchasing something from a marketplace, and I'm, going to go meet up a person to go buy some, to go pick up a new used cell phone. And I just want to make sure, maybe just letting them know, hey, I have this app. Do you have the app as well? Just kind of reminds them in the back of their minds, because, around the holidays, we hear so many stories about people going to meet somebody to buy a used PlayStation or a used phone, and, bad things happen. So we have the check-in feature, which is coming out later on this year, which is I'm going to go meet somebody, check in on me automatically in 10 minutes. And if I don't reply back, alert my loved ones. So we have that all automatically built in. Things that people do on a date normally, apparently, when guys go on a date, not too many guys go in the bathroom like, hey, check in on me in 10 minutes. And, like, hey, dude, it's going amazing. But for people in their lives, this happens. So we wanted to build that in to the app. And also we have a fake call feature that we're rolling out as well, which is exciting. It allows you to, in the first iteration, again, set up your safe word. And if I'm just uncomfortable and I want to be able to activate my safe word, I can say it, and it will automatically trigger an incoming call with a call ID that I already picked beforehand. And the voice starts playing in the background, obviously, when I pick it up, from our team, right? So how many situations can you imagine a realtor, or you're just out and you're just a little bit uncomfortable? You know, I don't want to make the other person aware that I'm uncomfortable. I don't want the other person to maybe aggravate the situation by letting them know I need to leave. But it provides an incredible opportunity to say, hey, look, my kid's school, flash the call ID says kid's school, and you can step away, excuse me, let me take this call. And, you know, you can excuse yourself from that situation and say, hey, sorry, I have to go. Do you mind, if I'm a realtor, hey, do you mind if I close this open house? My kid's school is calling, I have to go. It's such an easy way to remove yourself from situations. But I'm doing a lot of talking, sorry.
Wow, that is such an amazing feature. And you're absolutely right. I was single through my 20s and dating in New York City and dating online. And I lived with two other girls. And anytime any one of us went on a date, we did basically the manual version of this and sent over the address or a pin drop of where we were. Just to, we kind of did it in a joking way, but not really. I mean, we were doing it for our own safety. And that is an experience that I think generally is unique to women. So I'm glad that we're having this conversation, and everything you're doing with this app. I can imagine so many people appreciating having just these little safety measures that could really make a huge difference, not only in, not everyone is going to be attacked, but just in feeling safe day to day and having the capability to focus on other things besides being frightened and, trying to figure out a way to get out of something. Like, it's exhausting to live like that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And, you know, we get emails from parents that say, thank you so much, because my kid is coming back home from school from an activity. I tell them, hey, when you're going to your friend's house, text me when you get there, text me when you leave, text me when you get home. All of that is automated now, right? So let's say I'm a parent at work and my kids have activities after school, or my partner, right? Text me when you get there. You know, we've automated all that. And we've put it into a very, very user-friendly app that we think is amazing. And people start seeing how they can use it in their day-to-day lives for just nothing nefarious happening, but just simple use, being part of what they're doing every day.
So if I want to turn it off for whatever reason, let's come up with a hypothetical situation. I normally alert my boyfriend to where I am, but I'm shopping for something special for him and I don't want him to see where I am. Is it possible to turn it on and off?
Absolutely. I mean, all you have to do is simply just close the app. You just close the app, or you can just end the trip. You can say, hey, I'm fine, just end the trip. And that person, your significant other, would get a text message that, hey, Shelly's here and she's fine and she's okay. That's it. Or you could just simply closing the app like you normally would and say, hey, I'm safe, I'm fine. The check-in feature, you can just hit a button when it asks you, are you okay? Yes, I'm fine. And it would say, that you were last seen here. This is the location, before maybe you went into the store to go buy something for him or whatever you were shopping for in this situation.
Okay, so that makes sense, and that's, I think, a good feature to know about. So I want to ask you about the feature to contact your loved ones versus contacting local authorities. I assume that was a conscious decision. So could you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Because obviously, what we wanted to do is well, let me go back to let me explain this. So with the app, there's the feature that you can automatically trigger it to automatically go to the police, right? Which is, if I'm really going to meet a stranger for the first time that I really don't know anything about, I probably want it where the voice activation automatically goes to the police. And it goes to my loved ones where they get a message, they get the live video stream, they get the text, this is where you were, the pin drop. And then we have the other situation where you can, in the settings, say, I want to be notified. I want to have the option where I can click through and say, yes, confirm, I want to call the police. But in all situations, your loved ones are always notified, whomever you decide. So if I'm going on a trip, let's say I'm hanging out, or I'm going on a date or something, I don't necessarily want my mom to know, right? So I wouldn't alert my mom in this trip. I can alert my friends. But in every situation where you trigger the SOS, whether or not you have to double click to confirm you want law enforcement, right? Or you want to say no, automatically go there if something goes wrong. If you hear me say my safe word, your loved ones are always notified, and it's the ones that you want to be notified in that situation.
That's amazing. Thank you for clarifying that.
No problem.
Could you share some statistics that support the work that you're doing at UrSafe?
Absolutely. We launched our app December 10th. And again, we did a simple press release, and we have, in 4 months, we have over 4,000 SOS activations around the world. And we've had users in 134 countries activate the app. How humbling that experience is, I can't put it into words. When we have people write you from or send us a message from Mongolia before the app saying, please make sure you have this app available in Mongolia. You've not done any marketing there. What you find that this feeling of nervousness and uncertainty that you spoke of, it's universal. It's something that it happens all over the world, you know? And if we can create something that works for people in Mongolia, in Iceland, in the US, in Oklahoma, it works in Air Force Base in very humbling, and we're very excited about that. We're humbled every day when we start hearing stories about people, how they're using the app in ways that we didn't even think about. And it's bringing a little bit of comfort and security for them. You know, obviously we're not going to be able to prevent every bad thing from happening to everybody, but if we just did our part and one person at the end of the journey of our product is saved or comes home safer, it's all worth it. And I think I speak on behalf of myself and our entire team.
Yeah, absolutely. That's such an important point, that universal experience with safety and focusing on a global market. And that's something that we do at Spectrum Labs as well. Compared to other competitors out there, we're uniquely focused on a global market. This is, you know, everybody has the right to be safe and to have access to technology that can support their safety. So can you talk a little bit more about your decision to make it available globally and some of the things you had to think about with making it available globally versus just focusing on a US or North American market?
Absolutely. I think for our team, it kind of goes back to understanding for us the scale of the problem, right? And not just looking at it from a traditional, you know, if you're rolling out a product, you want to keep it, you know, you want to do an initial launch in the US where you kind of control things and see what goes well for the next couple of 6 to 9 months. But what we started seeing from our campaign when we were launching was, this is, like you said, a global issue, right? And how fair is it that we're only making this available for our US consumers where somebody in Mexico or Colombia or Paraguay, it probably needs it? Is that really fair? Can we do it? And I think that was a question that I asked our team was, well, can we release it globally? And of course you had some marketing and PR people saying, don't do that. It's too big at scale. Like, you know, companies don't normally do that, especially a startup. But it's not fair to us if we don't release it if it's not available in Saudi Arabia, right? It's not fair to us for if we don't put it in the App Store in India, you know, even though that consumer might never pay for it, but it's just as important that they have access to that. And if that consumer having access to it makes them feel a little bit safer because she's walking back home from school at night by herself and she's a girl in Bangladesh, it's okay. You know, it's fine. And we will take that. We'll take that risk of having a global flop. But in this case, you know, I think just similar to what Spectrum does is, it's important to understand that people around the world have these issues, and to make your product or your service available to everybody. It's great if you make it available to the people in the US, but what does that say about the other people that your technology can help if you don't want to make it available, or you just choose not to look at that market because it financially it's not financially rewarding. So we didn't want to go that route.
Right, absolutely. And I so respect everything that you just said. And like I mentioned, Spectrum is also really focused on, you know, the online side of keeping people safe globally. And you doing all this incredible work with people offline. I'm wondering if for all of these different places around the world, I would imagine that people would need to be aware of different response protocols. So if a loved one gets a message that someone they're connected to may be in danger, is your recommendation to just call the local authorities, or do you have other recommendations for them in the app as to what they can do to respond to a notification that maybe someone they know is in trouble?
No, so what happens once the protocol is activated, that primary user's phone automatically connects to, well, once they trigger that, yes, I do want to call 911. So that call automatically goes to 911. What you get on your phone is, hey, this person is here. This is the video stream. They've activated their SOS protocol. This is where they are. And then you start getting an incoming video stream. What we found that in a lot of developing countries or non-first world countries where law enforcement just is not capable to get out there. It's not like the US where you call 911 and they show up maybe 5 minutes late, maybe 20 minutes late. But in rural areas, you know, in a lot of countries, that 911 call doesn't come. They don't have the infrastructure. They don't have, we have places in Bangladesh that have 1 million citizens and have 17 police. They just don't have the infrastructure. That video stream and that alert to their loved ones becomes incredibly important. And they respond because they understand in their culture, the police aren't going to get there. So if my daughter's walking home and she's in Hyderabad in India, and you know, 2 guys are following her and she activates the app, the likelihood that phone call, that 911 call goes to the phone systems in Hyderabad, who then have to figure out where she is, you know, that phone call automatically happens. But in those countries, those people understand because of their relationships with their law enforcement, they know more than likely the cops aren't going to get there. Now the brother, the sister, the husband, and everybody else around knows exactly where she is, what's going on. They respond a lot faster. They will be there. So it really depends on cultures with that and their relationships with their law enforcement in different countries.
Right, exactly. Thank you for sharing that. I think it is so important to realize that different countries, different locations operate in very different ways, and what might be the best safety measure for someone in the US might not be the best response for someone in a different country. So I wanted to ask you, before we wrap up, it's impossible not to touch on the impact of coronavirus on the world, on basically everything we do. And I would imagine that you have seen some sort of change or response in your product, in UrSafe, to people using it during a time like this. Obviously, there are more domestic issues, or maybe not obviously, but I've read about that. How have you seen coronavirus impact what you're doing at UrSafe?
Well, this is a great opportunity. Thank you for the question. What COVID-19 has actually been able to do for us is obviously our core product deals with people in human interaction. Obviously around the world, that's a lot of times now changed. People aren't meeting people for coffee anymore. People aren't getting into rideshares. You know, they're not activating the voice activation for, you know, if they're meeting a stranger. What we found from our users is, and I put this in the backdrop of understanding that people are home, they're stressed, there's a lot of stuff going on in people's homes, is people are still activating the SOS protocol, but from their homes. And in a lot of cases, what we think is going on is a domestic situation. March 30th, the French government just released a study that said, not a study, but just released like an alarming statistic that 36% increase they've seen in reported domestic violence in Paris since the lockdown. That's a 36% increase in reported domestic violence cases. And what we've seen there is people that are in lockdown situations with their abuser. And what can we as an app do to try to help, right? So we made, and we're making it now publicly, show, I guess, is that we're making the app free for the foreseeable time. all the premium features around the world. We think it's incredibly important that as a company and as an organization, we do our part, right? If it's not fair for us, or well, I guess it's fair, but it's not something we want to do. We don't want to be remembered that in this situation, we would forego the financial benefits of having a paid app to make this free for everybody around the world that might need it. We just started a campaign online saying, hey, share this information. Many people know somebody that might be in that situation of being a domestic violence situation. We want to let people know that the app is free, tell people about it, because again, kind of like what we talked about earlier, once an abuser can manipulate a person and saying, nobody's going to believe you, you better not show anybody. Once they know you have this app now in that house, maybe it changes the behavior of a person. Maybe all of a sudden they realize that if they try to attack you or they threaten you, a video stream goes to their mom, their dad, your brother, your sister, in addition to local law enforcement, by just your voice. Then maybe the person takes a step back and realizes, hey, you know what? There's no one or two of things that I used to use to manipulate them, whether it's nobody's going to believe you or you better not tell anybody. Those things are removed. So if it's just one person that comes back and says, thank you so much, it helps me escape a situation where he was going to do something to me, then you realize I had the app or whatever that is, I think it's worth it for us as a financial sacrifice to make our app available to everybody in the world that needs it during this time. And, we didn't think our app was going to be used like this, but obviously nobody could foresee this happening. And we're more than happy to make it something that people can use in your day-to-day lives, especially during now when people are home, they're stressed. If it prevents, like I said, one person, allows them to get somewhere safe, it's worth it for us. It really is.
Thank you so much for doing that. And I really appreciate you doing that in, this incredibly challenging time, seeing companies like UrSafe responding to very real and very serious issues, and making it about the people and the safety versus the finances is a very beautiful thing. So, cheers to you and your team for doing that. That's so important. And I also thank you for drawing more attention to the domestic violence during COVID issue, because I think it's very important that people are aware of that going on during this very tense and challenging time where some people are home safe and some people are home not so safe. So it's definitely important that they have access to resources to keep them safer.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for being here. Before you go, can you just let all of our listeners know where they can go to your app or for more information?
Okay. Our website is ursafe.com. That's U, the letter U, the letter R, SAFE.com. You can go in the App Store. In the App Store, we are called the UrSafe app. Online, we're on Instagram, Facebook, UrSafe_app app. But you can go to our website, go to any of our social media platforms. Feel free to download the app. Like I said, we have it in 2 different languages right now, English and Spanish. And please encourage people to use it. People that you think might need it, even if they might feel uncomfortable that you sent it to them, because most people know what's going on in that household, or at least somebody does. And it's just you thinking about them. So thank you for the great opportunity, by the way. You can't wait to continue working with Spectrum Labs. So thank you so much. I appreciate it.
We're looking forward to continuing to work with you as well.
Okay.
Thank you so much for being here.
No problem.
So that's all for this episode, and we'll see you next time on The Brief.